And how is it that Jesus comes along, doesn't talk about Yahweh, instead he talks about the Father, the one in the heavens, to distinguish his Father
Mhm.
from all others, the Heavenly Father, who he addresses as Pater, which means Father, and Abba, which means Sir or Daddy. And Jesus says, no one has ever seen the Father that I'm talking about. Well, how can he say that if Yahweh is the Father? Because Moses spoke to Yahweh face to face, and Yahweh was physically seen many times in the old stories. Yet Jesus says, no one has ever seen the Father I'm talking about. And he says, both to his big audiences and to his 12, what I'm bringing you is something completely new. Philip says, show us the Father. So they know they don't know what he's talking about. He's bringing something new. And then there's another amazing moment where Jesus puts a lot of distance between him and the Yahweh stories and the Yahweh character when he says, which of you fathers, if your children were thirsty and asked for drink or hungry and asked for food, would give them a stone or would give them a snake? And you or I would listen to that and think, oh, what a strange, perverse, random scenario he's come up with there. Except
Mhm.
the Jewish hearers in the beginning would say, oh, hold on. Yahweh gave his people a stone when they were thirsty. Yahweh sent snakes when his people were hungry. And here's Jesus saying, what kind of father would do that?
Yeah. Right.
All the gospel writers in the canonical gospels I'm talking about are eager to show that Jesus is a successor to and replacement of Moses, the prophet of
Mhm.
Yahweh. And they show him as bringing laws that delete and replace the laws of Yahweh. That's really the big picture. It's a picture of discontinuity. And so I go further than this in my book, The Eden Conspiracy in particular, and I show that Jesus really did intend to set people free from the laws of Yahweh and was bringing something very different. The gospel writers understood it. There's the moment of transfiguration where we've even got a dramatic handover of the baton, where those of his ancestors who had to do business with Yahweh, that's Moses and Elijah, are handing the baton over to Jesus, and a voice from the heavens, there's the Father in the heavens, speaks and says, this is my son, listen to him. And so in that moment, we've gone from the old to the new, and the new is something completely new. So it's very clear by the time you're in the book of Acts, in Acts 15, and the Jerusalem Council is happening, the early church has worked out Christianity is not Yahwism. There's clear blue water between what Jesus was on about and all the old stories and laws of Yahweh. It's very hard to get that discontinuity into our minds when we've been taught a story of continuity for so long. But the only way the story of continuity works is if you ignore all the nastiness and violence of the Yahweh character that are totally incompatible with the
Right.
teachings of Jesus. And that's the clue for most people that some things are right.